Thursday night football. Once again, we have $1 million up top. Welcome, guys. My name is DK. We'll be breaking down the DFS Showdown slate in this video. Also, make content for player prop sites like Prize Picks, Underdog, Parlay Play. Parlay Play, they're the sponsor. If you guys are not on Parlay Play, you can use the link down below for a $100 deposit match bonus. They do have some props up already for Thursday night football, or you can use the code DKDFS for that $100 deposit match bonus. Again, it'll be linked down below. Before we get into the player-by-player breakdown, let's kind of recap everything from Monday night. So, Monday night, for me, not a bad night. It's a really weird feeling because I'm obviously happy I turned $40 into $4,000, right? Now, I'm obviously happy about that. But I'm still tilted because I did it with both my running backs getting injured right away. And you have to think, right? What happens if Nick Chubb and Jamal Williams don't get injured? I think I'm the odds-on favorite to win the $1 million, right? So, yes, I'm happy I won $4,000, but also, I think there's a very good chance I would have won the $1 million if Chubb and Jamal Williams did not get injured, right? Because Tony Jones times 2, very, very good chance that would have been Jamal Williams who didn't get injured. And then Nick Chubb obviously would have played a majority of the game had he not got injured. So, I'm happy, right? I'm not mad about it that I turned 40 into 4,000. Also, we covered a lot of this I did a YouTube stream for everyone to come in at. We talked about a lot of things. We can kind of cover a few of them right now. The Elijah Moore chalk was one that I did not want to play in tournaments. And here is the reasons, right? For the whole, I talked about this in the stream. You guys can go back and watch it if you want. It's on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to go back and watch that stream, you can. But the entire day, right? Every piece of content out there was talking as if Amari Cooper was out, right? And that was the assumption. Amari Cooper is not going to play. Then we get the midday upgrade, and then he ends up playing. What I said was that I really liked Amari Cooper in tournaments because for the whole day, everyone was expecting him to be out, and everyone was expecting to jam Elijah Moore and DPJ. So what happens, right? The ownership did not change in Elijah Moore. He was projected for he actually came in higher owned than he was projected for. He's projected for 45% ownership. He ended up coming in at 50%. So the field just didn't adjust to Amari Cooper being in, right? And Moore was a bust at high ownership. And the guy that I talked about that I really liked, that I did not understand why he was not getting more ownership, was Adam Thielen. Came in at 6% ownership. Absolute smash, while the Moore slappies were punished. So again, that was all on the stream. Thielen, I was not looking into one game sample, right? I knew he was productive in the snaps that he played in the preseason, so I was not super worried about what happened week 1. He was the receiver I felt the best about. I said it was him, and then it was Mingo. I was worried. I was stay away from Chark with him being on a limit, and I think Chark being back affects Marshall the most. It did. Marshall snaps went down the most. And then we talked about the Kenny Pickett, George Pickens stack in tournaments, right? There was no quarterback that I loved. I knew most of the field was going to gravitate towards chalk Derek Carr and chalk Deshaun Watson. And I went to Kenny Pickett, George Pickens. Ended up working a big way. And finally, the chalk defense people don't get there. The Sharks that play low-owned defense were finally rewarded with the Steelers defense going for 2 touchdowns. So it's very rare. I literally never get the defense right. But again, defense is such a high variance position, I usually try to avoid playing a chalk defense in tournaments. So instead of playing the chalk Saints or the chalk Browns, I went to the low-owned Steelers, worked out. So, there's here. This was, I have it up here. So this is the final tally again, $40 into 4,000. 1,000-person entry, both my running backs had injured right away. Still won with both my running backs getting injured. Wild, right? I finished on the 200th place in the Million Maker with both my running backs injured. But we covered a few things in. There's a couple of things I want to talk about that I covered in the stream that I think I might be forgetting. Let's see, what else was there? Njoku. I like Njoku is my favorite tight end. We talked about that YouTube video as well. And then I also brought up Jerome Ford. It was, if you go back and watch that stream, that was one of the first things I brought up was I like Jerome Ford in large field tournaments. Now, obviously, I wasn't expecting Nick Chubb to get injured, but there was a lot of things I talked about why I liked Ford. He was playing, hold on. I thought I was going to sneeze. Oh, it might still be coming. Maybe not. But so talk about Jerome Ford is playing the Kareem Hunt role. There was a 50-50 snap distribution week one. Obviously, he played a lot more down the stretch when the game was a blowout, but it was basically a 70-30 split when the game was competitive. And I thought the field was just going to overreact to that 1 week sample size when he didn't do anything in his 15 carries. And we also knew, right, that Nick Chubb was going to be massive chalk because salary really didn't matter. So I said, hey, if you're fading Nick Chubb, you either want to play Jerome Ford at no ownership or you go heavy on the Cleveland passing attack because either Jerome Ford vultures a touchdown and catches a lot of passes or Nick Chubb gets injured, which he did get injured. So we talked a lot about game theory, right? I am not a picks person. I don't give picks. I talk through game theory and how to build out good GPP lineups. So if you want a picks channel, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. There's a lot of sites out there. If you want just someone to tell you who to play and nothing else, there's a lot of other channels like that. I'm trying to teach you how to be a better DFS player. That's what I want. So yeah, it felt good. Like I said, it felt good to turn $40 into $4,000, but still also tilted. It was a really weird feeling last night. Really weird feeling. But that was the recap. So hope you guys had a good day. If you guys are looking for more content, you can check out my Patreon either for DFS or for player pop stuff. Link in the description below. And let's take a look at the odds for this Thursday night football game. So Giants 49ers currently 49ers about 10-point favorites playing at home here. And the over-under is currently about 44 and a half. And what you're looking at, again, is the Odds Jam Sportsbook screen. If you guys are interested in signing up, you can use the code DKDFS for 25% off. Also linked down below. They do have a fantasy optimizer. Again, we've talked about this a lot for sites like Prize Picks, Underdog, Parlay Play. They have positive EV stuff. If you're serious about sports gambling, you can check out the positive EV page. So like I said, it's super excited to be working with Odds Jam. And again, use that code for 25% off your first month. And let's just get into the video. All right. So we're going to start with the New York Giants side. So the big news here, obviously, is Saquon Barkley, right? He is currently questionable. He was originally ruled out, but now he's saying he feels a lot better and could play. So this basically just reminds me of the Amari Cooper situation, right? Cooper was basically ruled out. Everyone was assuming he was out. That's why everyone just, plugged Elijah Moore in without thinking, and then Cooper gets ruled in, and people don't swap. Well, now I think there's a chance that Saquon Barkley could play. So we'll monitor the situation. If Saquon Barkley plays, I'm going to be pretty high on him for tournaments. You want to know why? Because again, everyone is assuming he was out. They think, if he's in, he's going to be limited or something. So unless we hear he's on some sort of snap count, if Saquon gets rolled in and we have no news of a snap count or anything like that, then I'm going to be pretty high on him for tournaments because he played literally 100% of the snaps before going down. He missed the last few snaps of that game, but yeah, he played 66 of the 68 snaps. Breida came in for the last two. Again, Saquon was literally going to play 100% of the snaps. So I like him quite a bit for tournaments if he does not play, or if he does play, I should say. I'm also high on Daniel Jones for tournaments. Mobile, a game that they're 10-point dogs, most likely will be playing from behind. I know a lot of people will probably load up on the 49ers, go 5-1 49ers, 4-2 49ers, but I think this Giants team can hang in there. They started really slow against Arizona, but made a comeback. So still like Daniel Jones for tournaments, and I'm pretty high on Darren Waller as well. I like these main Giants for GPPs. Waller is the pass catcher field the best spot here for the Giants. 6 catches and 8 targets last week. He played 61 of the 68 snaps, ran 40 routes, so reasonable price point for Waller. I like the top 3 guys a good amount. Now, if there's no Saquon, then Matt Breida should be operating as the RB1. Would expect him to maybe not take that Saquon workload, but probably play, if I had to guess, 70-75% of snaps, which would make him a pretty good option here because Breida is not a bad pass catcher. It is a revenge game if you're into that. I never really factor that in at all. I don't think you guys should, but he did used to play for the 49ers. So, Matt Breida, if there's no Saquon, I actually like him a good amount, but we'll keep an eye on the Saquon news. Now, the rest of the Giants, again, they had 5 active wide receivers last game, and they did play 3 a good chunk of the game. So Slayton played 56 of the 68 snaps. You saw Paris Campbell in the slot played 45 of the 68 snaps, and then Isaiah Hodgins played 51 of the 68. So you have Hodgins at 6'4", Slayton at 5'6", and Paris Campbell is 4.4. So I don't really have any super strong takes on these Giants receivers. Again, for me, I feel just a little bit better about spending up for Darren Waller, but Slayton's fine. Hodgins is fine. I think Paris Campbell's reasonable for value playing out of the slot. He had 6 targets last week. So all the main Giants receivers are kind of just there for me. I'm not going to prioritize any of these guys, but if they land on my lineup as the last piece in, I think that's fine. Jalen Hyatt is 5'2". So here's a tricky one, right? Because I think he's a talented wide receiver. I think he's going to eventually be operating as a Giants starting wide receiver. But if you look at snaps last week, weren't great. 14 snaps, 12 routes. I do think like I said, he's going to slowly increase in his snaps. But is it going to happen on a short week? That I don't know of. So with basically only 14 snaps last week at this price point, I have a pretty hard time playing him. Unless we hear something by the beat writers that he's going to play a lot more Thursday, I don't think I can go to a guy like Jalen Hyatt. Now, the RB2 for the Giants will probably be Brightwell. They do also have the rookie Greg, and that is assuming that Saquon Barkley does not play, but I can't play Gary Brightwell at 5K if Saquon's out. Because, again, I would expect Matt Breida to play a good chunk of the game, probably 70-75% snaps. I'm just not paying 5K for Brightwell no matter what. Graham Gano is 4K. I think he's viable in tournaments. So, most of the field, if they're going to play a kicker, they're going to play the 49ers kicker because they're pretty big favorites. I wouldn't say Gano's out of play, though. I just think he's in play for GPPs. The Giants defense, kind of the same thing, right? They're going to be very, very low owned, but any defense can get a pick six. It's possible, so I'm not going to completely rule them out. I'm probably not going to play them, but no one will play the Giants D because we'll talk about this in a minute. There's going to be a massive chalk D on the other side that we'll get to. And then Sterling Shepard, he was the wide receiver 5. We know he's obviously dealt with a ton of injuries in his career. 1K, like if I'm going to play a backup receiver for the Giants, I'd rather play him over Hyatt just because of the price point. He played 10 snaps, ran 7 routes. Coming off the major injury, they could just be, taking it slow with him. So maybe his snaps could increase a little bit. But still not going to be super confident about that. Bellinger's $800. He's playing the backup tight end position. He played 28 snaps, ran 10 routes. Again, pretty similar play to a guy like Sterling Shepard. 10 routes for Bellinger, 7 routes for Shepard. They're both, large field tournament kind of dart throws. And that's really it for the Giants. So let's talk about the 49ers. And this one really surprises me. The snap count so far for Christian McCaffrey. He played 100% of the snaps. 49ers literally said, they're going to take it easy, McCaffrey, early on. That just has not been true. Literally played 100% of the snaps. Is involved in the passing game. He's expensive, but yeah, McCaffrey is a clear top option on this slate. I think you're probably optimal cash game captain if you guys are playing cash games. So McCaffrey looks really good at the top. Can you fade Christian McCaffrey on the slate? Sure. Anything's possible. He could get banged up. Maybe the 49ers do try to get Elijah Mitchell a little bit more involved since he literally did not play last game. McCaffrey is going to be chalky, and it's for good reason. He did not leave the field last game, and he is still a very talented running back. Brock Purdy is 9.4. I think he is a little bit safer than Daniel Jones, but I do like the ceiling more on Daniel Jones. I think Purdy right now in this 49ers offense, more of a game manager. So I don't really see a massive ceiling on him. He's a little mobile, but I think, so price point, Purdy is safer than Daniel Jones. But if you want that upside, for me, it's Daniel Jones over Purdy. Deebo Samuel's 8.8K. I think of these top targets for the 49ers, of him, Ayuk, Kittle, he's probably going to get the most ownership. He did have 5 carries last week, 2 carries the week before, 9 and 7 targets, so heavily involved. Ayuk also a little bit banged up. Not a lot of bad things to say about Deebo Samuel. Played 51 of the 57 snaps, so I think he's a very good option in the mid-range. Ayuk at 8.6. We'll keep an eye on the status with him and the shoulder. He get a little bit banged up. Snaps did go down a bit on him last week, only 30 of the 57. I think it's because of the injury, so this will be a pretty important piece of news to keep an eye on. Obviously, it's Ayuk and it's Saquon Barkley that we're monitoring going into Thursday. If Ayuk does not play, we'll talk about a couple guys. Juwan Jennings probably sees a little bit more snaps, and the rookie Michigan product, Ronnie Bell, should get more work as well. And then George Kittle, 6'6". He's kind of in like a weird price range here in this mid-range in the showdown. Like, I don't think he's going to be that popular, but I still have some interest in Kittle. A guy that, they can look to in the red zone. He basically played in the entire game last game too. 55 of the 57 snaps, ran 26 routes. I have no issue with Kittle. And I think he's going to kind of fly under the radar on this showdown slate. Let's see what else. Okay, so here we go. You guys know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say, right? You guys have watched my channel for a while now. In these showdown sites, you know what I'm going to say here. Now listen. 49ers defense is obviously a really good defense. Giants and Daniel Jones, somewhat turnover prone. So, disregarding ownership, right? I would say, okay, I think the 49ers are a solid play at this price point. You have to factor in ownership, obviously, when you're playing GPPs. And we've seen it now. Almost every showdown slate, the defenses have been smashing. So what is going to be the public, kind of mindset? Well, what is everyone going to do? Well, the defense has been smashing in the showdown slate. Why wouldn't they continue to smash, right? And you cannot think like that. Each game is different. So, if the 49ers defense was somewhat low-owned, then yes, I would be more than willing to play them. They are not. I can almost guarantee you that. You want to know why? They're playing at home. They're big favorites, and the 49ers defense is actually a really good defense. So they're going to be extremely over-owned in GPPs. I personally am going to fade, and if they smash, then it's very simple, right? If chalk 49ers defense smashes on Thursday, you already know, right? I'm just going to be extremely tilted on Twitter. I'm going to be very, very upset. So it's really an ownership thing for the 49ers defense. And you saw the Rams. The Rams are not a great offense. 49ers defense only put up 5 fantasy points against the Rams. If that happens, let's just say the 49ers defense is like 40% owned. Ownership projections are not out. I think they're going to be pushing 30+%, maybe in the 40% range. Let's say 40% of people play the 49ers defense to go for 5 fantasy points. Well, basically half the field's dead then, right? So, again, defense is a high variance position. We talk about that all the time. It's the reason I played the low-owned Steelers last night. It's the reason. Most of the field is jammed Saints or Browns. And it's the reason I went to the Steelers. I was finally rewarded for that. But yeah, 49ers defense, again, they're going to be way over-owned in tournaments. So I will most likely be fading unless for some reason the field is sharper now and we get projections and maybe the 49ers defense is not going to be that popular. If that's the case, I have more interest. But I can almost guarantee you, again, especially by the more casual players, they're going to be over-owned, the 49ers defense. All right, let's talk about the rest of the 49ers. Juwan Jennings, 4.8K. He's playing out of the slot. I think he's fine. I actually think Ronnie Bell is the better slot receiver of these two. I think eventually Ronnie Bell will be operating as the number 3 wide receiver. But early on, like I said, most teams kind of take it easier on the rookies. So Juwan Jennings is fine. Now, if there's no Brandon Ayuk, I think he operates as the wide receiver 2. Would look a little bit better in that scenario. Moody, again, he's going to be the much more popular of the 2 kickers. 14 fantasy points back-to-back weeks. He's going to be safe. He's a nice cash play. You can play him in tournaments as well if you want to. I just think he's going to be a bit over-owned in GPPs. Elijah Mitchell, like I said, I'm shocked. I'm just shocked at the workload. He 5 carries week 1. Did not see the field week 2. Now, here's what I'll say about Elijah Mitchell. I don't think you had to cross him off here. You just saw Christian McCaffrey play 100% of the snaps last week. This is a short week. Do they want to push a somewhat injury-prone running back like Christian McCaffrey and try to play him 100% of snaps again? If I'm the coach, I say no. I'm probably playing McCaffrey 70% and Mitchell, maybe 20, 25%, and you give a few carries to Deebo Samuel. That's what I would do if I'm the coach of the 49ers on a short week. So, Mitchell actually is in play for me for GPPs because people are going to see, obviously, he didn't play last week and they're just completely cross him off. I think that's a mistake. Now, I'm not saying to slam Elijah Mitchell. I don't even know. We'll see if I don't know if I'm going to play him either. But I'm just saying, I think he's going to be really low owned. And I do think he has a much better opportunity to see some touches on a short week this week. So Mitchell is intriguing. And I also have some interest in the fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Now, then game log watchers, again, will completely cross him off. But we know, watch NFL football over the years, Juszczyk is a good pass-catching fullback. And he is involved in this offense. Like, let's take a look at what happened last week, snap-wise, to the 49ers. He played 24 of the 57 snaps. So close to half the game, he ran 10 routes, and he's $400. All you need is one catch, basically, from Juszczyk at this price point for him to pay off that salary. So Juszczyk also firmly in play for me. And then I'll mention him, Ronnie Bell, the rookie. As I said, I think he's slowly going to start playing more and more as the season goes on. If Ayuk is limited or out, then I really like Ronnie Bell at $200. I think he'll be operating as the wide receiver 3. Last game, he did play a fair amount. He played 27 snaps, did only run 7 routes, though. That is concerning. So he was in there a lot for run blocking. But again, he's the flat min price. He went off in the preseason. The 49ers kind of unleashed him, and he went off. So I do think eventually Ronnie Bell is going to overtake Juwan Jennings as the wide receiver 3. But if Ayuk is in, then what I'll say is Ronnie Bell is kind of just a dart throw in tournaments. If Ayuk is out, then I'm going to be pretty high on Ronnie Bell at $200. And he's overtaken Ray McCloud as the wide receiver 4 right now. McCloud just played on special teams last week. And then the tight end 2 for the 49ers, that would be Charlie Warner. He played 9 snaps. Ross Dwelley played 1. Charlie Warner ran 2 routes, so kind of hard to take a dart on him. There's a lot of guys close to min price I think are just better plays. You know, Juszczyk, Ronnie Bell, Bellinger, Sterling Shepard, if you want kind of just those large field dart throws in a tournament like this. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the video. Like I said, if you're interested in signing up for more content, go check out my Patreon. We really focus on building those good tournament lineups. Game theory, right? Game theory is what I hammer home. We do cover cash games. If you play cash and you want some help for cash games, I always talk about what I think is the optimal build, but we really focus on the game theory and building those plus EV lineups or GPPs. Again, I'm not giving you picks. This is not what you come here for. I don't give you, you play this guy, you play this guy. No, I'm talking about, if you're playing this guy, then it might make sense to play this guy. Or the field is very overconfident in this guy. Why is no one looking to someone like this or someone like this, right? Odds versus chances of success, right? Ownership versus chance of success. There's a lot that goes into it. So you guys are linked down below. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. As always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll see you guys all in the next one.